Hey everybody, and welcome back. I wanted to discuss something from a historical standpoint that's going to tick some people off. 2 videos should be coming out about African American culture, what I call Black American culture, known as the Big Mama. See, the thing is, a lot of things happened in 2023, and particularly I think that this is a great subject to discuss. The music I played, I wanted to play something lighthearted and get people in a different type of mood. I just like to put music in the beginning of my videos. I've been thinking a lot about family dynamics in the Black community lately, and it spent the day trying to look up demographics and things like that and how to get a hold of those type of statistics. I may make some videos like that in the future, who knows. Here's the thing. We want to hold Big Mama as the backbone of our communities, but I can completely understand where Big Mama didn't work for everyone. And I have a huge understanding as to why lots of people in the Black community that once laughed at Madea movies now see them as harmful. Because at one point when I didn't do enough of my research, I also thought that it was just very harmless and just innocent comedy. Until you break down the fact that Madea is more than just a man wearing a dress or wearing a suit. It's a representation of something in the community that needs to be addressed. And I'm working on making a video about the ideal of what Big Mama did do or should have been doing, and I'm going to give an anecdotal story. Maybe that video will play before this one, maybe not. I don't really plan these out sometimes. I've been knowing for most of 2023 that I was going to make a Big Mama video, and the downside of it. There are 2 downsides to Big Mama that we just never want to talk about. And the 2 things are that she can often be crass and often be very secretive. I'm sure lots of you have had that relative with that sharp tongue, that female relative that's older, who's considered the matriarch, and her way of dealing with things is to embarrass you by walking into buildings, being loud. She's like the Chattanooga choo choo. You can hear her clean down the hallway. And some people in our community think, oh, this ain't no big deal. She's just coming to defend her baby, la la la. In a school situation, for example, we never stop to question how embarrassing that is, and the legacy of being crass and loud that she's passed on to successive generations of women. And it's odd to use the term successive when there was no success in it. I am a believer that the mess that you see now in gangster, not so much gangster rap and the newer female rappers coming up and all of this hypersexualization, is because they didn't have a big mama to pass things down to check them. This is not to say that these people don't know their history and don't understand. They just had that bootlegging, chain smoking, big mama that didn't really do much for them, and now they're paying the price for that. Because you have to understand what you do goes down into your bloodline. So you're that loudmouth, want to be one of the guys cussing, chain smoking, bootlegging, and going out all different type of places and talking to people all manner of ways and handling things through violence. And then your granddaughter or great granddaughter is that same way, and you can't understand why. Because let's be honest, there's an element of certain big mamas who don't take responsibility for the calamity that they have caused. And I know this video will be controversial for people who watch it, but some people had that big mama. See, with me, my great grandmother left Alabama for nearly 2 decades, came back, said she found Jesus, and that's the second part we're going to get to. And she was secretive. She was away in Kentucky for like close to 30 years, and we know next to nothing about how she lived when she ran away all those years ago. She died in about 86 when I was like 6, shortly after I turned 6 years old. So we don't know a whole lot about my great grandmother. But when I was a little girl, I can distinctly remember her secretive nature. Like, I think she knew I was having gonna have all the stomach problems I have now. Because she hardly ever gave me candy in comparison to the other great grandkids. And she'd keep an eye on me, looking from the corner of her eye that I can remember. She could sit for hours in her chair holding the Bible, and she's either reading the Bible or just staring off. It's almost as if she had secrets, things that were burdening her, that were not very easy to talk about. Even my grandmother, who's her only daughter, that died in 2022, which I got COVID from visiting for that funeral. Even her own daughter could not reconcile and bring herself to talk about it. Oh, that's my mom. We don't talk about this. And let me get something straight about being secretive. I don't think you are entitled to know everything that happened back then. But I do feel like there are situations with those big mamas that, because we don't know why the way they were the way they were, it's causing calamity for these young women now. Because see, those were the mothers who passed down the wisdom, the genealogies. They were the ones that showed you how to keep house, how to garden, all those things. They were the ones with all the photos and all the family stories. I can remember for years being happy about black families having a family Bible, only to find out on my mom's side that we have one. Because that thing was a wealth of information. My aunt's still looking for it. But that secretive nature of them, they are allowed to die with their secrets because cameras weren't everywhere. And a good chunk of them died with no World Wide Web. So the people who knew all their secrets are dead and gone. And the people who could cause them calamity are dead and gone. But the things we see in the movies, the Martin Lawrence movies, I believe it's him with the Big Mama. And then you see Hattie McDaniel in Gone with the Wind. That whole generation did us a disservice. Because though they weren't entitled to tell us everything, we needed to know something. They died with secrets. And again, I don't think we're entitled to know everything, but they can be very secretive. And because they kept things away from us, they leave us in the wake to ascertain how to live life. Like I said in the video that I'm going to make about another video about Big Mamas, I'm going to discuss this. And this is a whole discourse. Don't get me wrong. I've heard of other communities outside the Black community where no one wants to talk about anything, or it's not a big deal. We're just going to forget it ever happened. But can we really count the cost to the successive generations as to why Big Mama, who we put on this pedestal, has made a mess of things? Can we reconcile that she has, and that blaming Medea for being Medea is part of a wider problem, not just a person cross-dressing? And I get that. I'm not downplaying that part of it. I'm just saying that at some point, all of us has had some embarrassing female relative who comes to PTA meetings about ready to curse, about ready to fight. And this woman's old enough to be in a wheelchair out here acting a straight fool. Look, I know this video is going to make some people mad, but some of us have those type of Big Mama stories where those women were have acted that way. Don't get me wrong, my great-grandmother was a very quiet person, but I was told she was wild back in the day. A few of her kids are still alive, but they don't like to talk about it, and you're probably because of old age, they've forgotten some stuff. And that's a question I'll leave with before I stop this video. Is it a good thing for them to forget that trauma sometimes? Is it better to go through life forgetting all of the times that Big Mama was not as kind and church going and loving and willing to pass on genealogy as you would have hoped? All right. Thank you all so much for listening, and have a great day.